Hey, welcome back everybody to Lifting Explained and another Newsday Tuesday. And today I want to talk about the Olympics getting postponed 1 year. So they have officially been postponed until July of 2021. And while that may not seem like a huge deal, obviously they did it for the right reasons because of the coronavirus. They don't want to jeopardize the health of everybody who's going to be there, a huge number of crowds, and especially for the athletes, the spectators, everybody. Obviously, it was the right decision to make. However, I don't think everybody fully realizes the impact that this actually has in terms of the athletes themselves. Now, obviously, this has a big impact in terms of the venue and logistics and all that sort of stuff. But what I want to talk about today is the impact on the athletes themselves, because it's actually a very big deal for them. It's not just a matter of, we're just going to compete next year. No, it's actually a lot more than that. See, what happens with the athletes is that when they prepare for the Olympics, there's a lot of planning that goes into their training for that. They have 4 years to train between each Summer Olympics. However, that's just 4 years. That's actually not a whole lot of time when it comes to elite caliber Olympic athletes. So when their training actually ends up getting pushed 1 year, that's not a matter of just, I have 1 more year to prepare for it. No, that's actually kind of messing up with their planning for their training. You see, when athletes prepare for the Olympics or for any competition like this, they have not just these competitions. It's not just the Olympics that they compete for. They're also competing at world championships and other ones throughout this 4-year period between the Olympics. So they have to plan their training around all that as well. So then when the Olympics get pushed back, that then messes up their training schedule. You see, athletes, when they train for this, they have certain plans. There's a very, very specific plan and cycle, a lot of times called mesocycles or microcycles and macrocycles. Macrocycle is the longest period for a cycle. That's usually like a year-long plan. That's for what you're going to do for 1 year. Then after that, you have your mesocycle, which breaks it down into maybe 2 or 3 months worth of training. And then your microcycle, which then breaks it down into a very specific time period, maybe a week or two, and what you're going to do exactly for that week or two. So athletes break up their training this way, and they plan it all the way out for these 4 years or wherever their competition is going to be. So now that things have been delayed a year, this kind of messes that up a bit, and now they have to plan for that, something that they weren't necessarily planning for to begin with at all. In fact, now that it's March, a lot of these athletes are about to enter, if not having already entered, the preseason. So even though we are actually, 3 or 4 months away from July right now, it's still going to end up being actually right at the beginning of the preseason for the training. And now all of a sudden, they got thrown into an extended off season. So now they have to plan for that. So that kind of messes things up a little bit. Also, one thing that needs to be mentioned here is that extending things a year can impact athletes who are right on that edge of terms whether they're at their prime or not. You see, the world of athletics, there becomes a point where you actually do become a little bit too old for it. You're not going to be able to be as competitive as you once were. An example of this is Michael Phelps. The 2016 Olympics was his last Olympics. He retired after that. If he competed at this 2020 Olympics, he was not going to, get all the gold medals that he has in the past or break all the records. He's just not. He doesn't have that athletic ability anymore, just because, simply put, because of his age. So extending the Olympics 1 year can impact certain athletes to the point where they're not actually going to be as competitive anymore. And yes, even just 1 year can make the difference between being competitive or not. This is a rather big deal for athletes. So hopefully, that won't make a huge difference for them. They'll be able to readjust their training. Hopefully it won't impact any of the athletes in terms of being at the prime or competitive or not. We'll have to wait and see for that. But this is actually quite, a big deal in terms of the athletes themselves and whether or not they'll be able to compete. It was the right decision. Again, the health of the athletes is very, very important. The health of the spectators and everybody else who's going to be there at the Olympics, very, very important. It was the right decision to make. but it's still going to be a very, very big impact on everybody there competing. All right, guys, that was today's Newsday Tuesday. Hope you enjoyed it. My name is Joe. This is Lifting Explained. And if you have not subscribed already, please make sure that you do. And again, I do absolutely have the reviews for fitness programs coming up. It's going to begin next week with Joe Bennett's Hypertrophy Coach program. So make sure, again, that you subscribe so you don't miss that one. And I will see you next time.